All right, chickadees. So today we're going to wrap up the week and we're going to do an overview of the entire week, and we're going to talk about today's card, which is the arrow. So come on in and join us. Hello, chickadees, and welcome in for another episode of Mojo Mysticism. So today we're going to wrap up our 5-day theme of going slow to go fast. So I've mentioned that we're doing this now because once we get out of this period of time, which I think is going to extend through the month of November, things are really going to speed up, and certainly next year is going to be very, very fast. So go slow to go fast is really what we're asked to do, and this is a calling to take stock, reassess where we are in our life and what's important to us, get reconnected, and get into alignment so that we can move through the next, 13 months or so with relative ease. And so the card that we had for the week, and actually before I go into that, I am going to mention again that these come out of a deck called the Mystical Shaman Oracle deck. And so the card that kind of set the theme up for the week is card 52, which is a 7 in numerology. And this is the card called Standstill. We got this card in the reverse. And so this is telling us, again, to hit that pause button, take stock, assess where we are, get clear on our priorities. And to get clear, it means we're probably letting go of some projects or situations that no longer serve us in our lives. So getting clear, and then really getting us through the month of November, which is the month to reconnect and reassess and begin to laser focus on the things that are most important to us in our life. So then the next card we had was card 11, which is the Council. And the Council that card is telling us we're not alone in this. So our Council is with us every step of the way and guiding us. The other thing that card is doing is saying, listen to the nudges, right? Don't second guess the nudge. Follow your intuition as it nudges you along the way, and reconnect and stay connected with your guides and your counsel. It also kind of came with a little bit of a advisory message. I'll just say this was in the upright position, but the advisory message is don't second guess. Don't ask for other signs. Don't expect other signs. Move on the nudge and really begin to hear your counsel guide you at a nuanced level. So that was the first card that came out. The second card is the Corn. This is card 10, which is a 1. This card was reminding us that there is more than enough abundance to go around for everyone. And so we get the opportunity to just get into alignment and flow with our life, and everything we need will come to us. So it also is asking us to be in action. So remember, we said the theme is to kind of get still and listen and reconnect with our lives and reassess. But that doesn't mean that we're not in action. It means it's that internal stillness. So this card is also reminding of that. Align and flow with that inner stillness in place. And then we got the Beloved. So things really started to get real. So remember, card 11 and 10 were in the upright position, and then we switched to the reverse position, and the Beloved, which is card 5, was the first of the cards in the reverse position. The Beloved challenged us to recognize the divine in everyone that we encounter and understand that divine beings, everyone we encounter, we are being called to focus on their divinity rather than their personality or their behaviors. So those were the things that we were being reminded to do with other people. The other thing about the Beloved, which is different from the next card we'll talk about, is that it was centered around, or it began to give a message about romantic relationships. So whatever those look like for you. And it was telling us to be aware of projections that we place on our romantic interest, be that a spouse or someone you're dating or someone you're interested in, whatever that interest is. Be careful with those projections, because those projections are blocking our ability to see them for who they are, and they're projections of our own longings and desires that we're placing onto that other person rather than seeing them for the divine being that they are. So we were asked to do that, and we were also reminded that when we don't do that, we get the opportunity to learn some painful lessons, and sometimes we get to learn those over and over again until we figure it out. So that was the Beloved. That was again card 5 and in the reverse position. The next card that we talked about yesterday was card number 4 in the reverse position. This card is the Beauty Way. This was telling us to not just, the day before we looked at the divine beings and our romantic interest today, or not today, but yesterday in the Beauty Way, it was looking for the beauty in every situation. And so we were reminded to conjure beauty when we need to. If we're having a hard day or we're having a time where we can't really see a lot of beauty, we get the opportunity to just conjure it up. Wherever you can find it and milk it until it becomes bigger and bigger. We were also reminded not to try to fix relationships. And these aren't just romantic relationships, these are all relationships, right? We don't need to fix them if we think they are broken. Sometimes, actually all the time, they are perfect exactly as they are. So even if a relationship is ending, it just means that you're moving into a new stage of your life. And so we don't need to fix anything. The other thing it reminded us is to just let things be what they are and let these relationships be what they are. Not to gossip, not to get so entangled in the emotional side of what's going on. And then the other warning that this card gave us was not to fall for the superficial beauty in these relationships. So, or situations or projects or whatever, right? We can get kind of caught up in the shiny object syndrome. So whatever that is for you, we all have different things that are our shiny objects. So now today we have card number 3. So we've had in the upright, we had cards 11 and 10 11 and 10 in the upright position. And then we switched to the reverse position and we had 5, 4, 3. So this is card 3. It's also in the reverse. This is the arrow. And the arrow is telling us that when we get into the alignment and we allow the divine to just flow through us, we will always hit our mark. That's what this is telling us. Generally. It's also reminding us to be true to our calling, right? Find that target that we're heading towards and be true to that until we arrive at our destination. And along the way, we're going to get the opportunity to release attachments. Most importantly, releasing attachment to the target. Sometimes, though, there's other attachments that we get asked to let go of along the way as well. And releasing attachments is really, really important if you're trying to manifest anything. I think I used the Counting Elvis's story from like last week or the week before. But this is talking about releasing attachments related to what it is that we are seeking, that the arrow is heading towards. The other thing that we are reminded of is to just free ourselves from unbridled ambition, right? Unbridled ambition can come across a little bit bristly to people. And it feels bristly on the inside. And we're invited to just let that go. We already saw the corn card, which said there's plenty of abundance for everybody. So there's really no reason to hold on to unbridled ambition. So we are invited to let that go. And there are times, I'll just say, when we get the opportunity to admit to ourselves that the path that we are on may not be the best path for us, right? That we might actually be on a path towards a desired outcome that may not be beneficial for us, and we haven't really recognized that yet. And that our continuance on this path may actually be shooting ourselves in the foot. When that happens, and when you realize it, because usually you've started out on the path where you realize it, and it's just important that once you do recognize that, oh, maybe this isn't the best thing for me, or you're seeing signs, you're feeling the nudges from your counsel, that maybe this is a direction that I should, or maybe I should change course, or maybe this direction isn't going to serve me the way I thought it would, and they're giving you those nudges, listen to them. Listen to them. It is also telling us, it's another card that tells us to regroup, right? Regroup, reconnect, and ask ourselves if the thing that we really desire, the juice, is it really worth the squeeze, which is the effort we have to put into it to achieve the juice, or the desire. So is the thing that I desire worth the effort that I need to put in towards it to achieve it? And that's a good question. Oftentimes the question is yes, but you want to regroup and make sure you're aligned and you're in flow, and then continue if that's the case. So really checking in internally with your intuition is really paramount to this, to the success of it. And the other thing kind of with this is understanding, or having the wisdom to understand that if maybe this isn't the right thing for me, you know, that there might be some healing that I get to do. And so it might be a little painful to change course. Sometimes it can be very, very painful to change course. But there is healing that I might get to do along the way when I change direction. And that healing will actually help change my subconscious and maybe clear some things out that I didn't even know I was dealing with. Now I'm just pretty much talking to myself here, but it is applicable to all of us. So understanding that sometimes if we're heading down a path and we're starting to see resistance, or things are coming up, they may be indications that we need to change path and we need to do some additional healing. So there is wisdom in understanding that when we don't get what we want, there might be another reason behind it. So that's kind of how that whole thing gets summed up there. So at the end of the day, we are always going to get what we need, right? So we may not get what we want, but we will always get what we need because we have the counsel, and the counsel is guiding us. So, very interesting set of cards for the week. Again, I thought it was really interesting that we had 11 and 10 in the upright, and then we flipped and we went to 5, 4, and 3 for the remainder of the week. And it'll be interesting to see what happens the next few weeks through the end of November. Mercury will go into retrograde here on the 10th of the month, and we'll stay there till the 30th. So, you know, that is a time when we can just kind of hit the pause button and slow down a little bit. So I would assume that we're going to have continuing messages along those lines in the next coming weeks as we get nearer to Thanksgiving and to the end of the month. So thank you for joining us, and hit subscribe if you want to see these videos in your feed. That helps us do more and more of these, and we will see you next time, chickadees. Mwah, lots of love.